Hi, Moral Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain about a Chinese romantic comedy film called Love, You. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The movie starts with a little girl hanging on a wood log to save herself from drowning while she calls for help. A man comes to her rescue, but she pleads for the man to save her parents. Knowing her parents are probably already dead, the man tries to comfort her. A little boy hands the man a towel he wraps around the girl. He asks for her name, and she tells him her name is Shami. 12 years later in Beijing, Shami is being scolded by lawyer Gao, her boss, for not doing her work correctly. Just then, a man named Mr. JK arrives. Shami, who is good at reading lips, eavesdrops on the conversation between lawyer Gao and Mr. JK. She can tell that JK is in search of an investigator and that he had requested coffee. When lawyer Gao leaves to take a call, Shami takes the coffee from Zhao Li to give to JK. JK asks how she knows he asked for coffee, and she tells him she can read lips. JK is impressed, so she quickly introduces herself as lawyer Gao's assistant investigator. Gao then returns to tell JK that he will find an amazing investigator, but JK tells him not to worry and that he has already found one. Shami's assignment is to go to Love You Island in Malaysia to collect dirt against its owner You Lele. The following day, Shami is in a boat on her way to the island. The boat happens to be a floating wedding hall from the island. Another boat stops with men dressed as pirates jumping off their boat and into the wedding hall boat. Their leader introduces himself as Captain Love You and quickly takes the bride captive. He throws a couple of questions related to having an affair. Shami overreacts and throws her shoe at the captain, who falls. Shami then yells at the woman to help her attack, but they immediately calm her down and explain that the man is the wedding organizer, whom she asked to test the groom. The man requests payment, and before he leaves, he introduces himself as You Lele. Back on the island, You Lele is beating up some men JK had sent. While beating one of the men, Lele tells the man to inform his boss that this is what he gets for bothering him. He notices Shami and runs towards her, but Shami, who sees him as trash, ignores him and walks away. However, Lele follows her and yells at her to hand over her passport for registration. While they are at it, Lele's employee rushes to inform him of some rich woman who had just arrived at the island. Lele immediately rushes out, and Shami follows. She confirms he is a money grubber when he increases the tour price by 1,000, so she immediately starts recording. Lele convinces the women to pay and offers to take them on the tour since they want him to handle it personally. During the tour, Lele tells the women a story about a fisherman who saved an obese girl named Shami when she was drowning. He also tells them that Shami was ungrateful to the man who had saved her and tried to separate him from his girlfriend. He then offers them some stones to throw at the Shami sand sculpture, hoping that their love rivals will be in so much pain after. Shami, the girl from the story, gets infuriated and attacks You Lele, calling him a cheat for lying. He pushes her to the ground, asking if she has lost weight. The female visitors then throw a tantrum about Lele not being single, so Lele covers up by telling the women that Shami is his ex-girlfriend. While he's busy explaining himself, he forgets that he has a bag over Shami's face, but Shami is already unconscious. She wakes up to Lele's conversation about hiring staff at a meager cost later. Shami rushes over to Lele. She tells him she had lost her passport at the station and that the new one would get there in a week. Lele isn't buying her story, so she offers to work for free for him. Lele quickly hires her. The next few days of work are made stress-filled for Shami. Lele gets angry because Shami doesn't answer whenever he calls her. One night, Lele finds out that Shami sleepwalks. He teases her about it the next day and tells her not to sleepwalk into Chicken's room eventually. That same day, Lele lands a good deal with Sophia, who wants to hold her wedding in Love You Resort. She asks Lele to reserve the entire resort for herself and Hao Chang, the would-be groom, for huge money. That night, Lele leaves his computer unattended to take a call. Shami then rushes in to find whatever she can use against Lele. After successfully copying the files, she calls Gao to tell him that she will be returning the next day with enough proof of Lele's business. Gao informs her that JK wants her to stay behind until July 28 to get more info. Later, Xiaomi sleepwalks into Hao Chang's bedroom and falls asleep on his bed. This causes a misunderstanding between the couples when Sophia walks in on her would-be groom trying to lift Xiaomi. Lele, who hears the couple arguing, rushes in and carries Xiaomi out. He comes back to see that Sophia wants to cancel the wedding. Lele takes it out on Xiaomi for making him incur a loss. He yells at her to get lost and retires to his tent angrily. The next day, Xiaomi and Lele try to reunite the couples by having Xiaomi talk to Sophia and Lele to Hao Chang. Unfortunately, they end up making things a lot worse. As the couple packs their things ready to leave the next day, Xiaomi talks to Hao Chang while Lele advises Sophia. Somehow, they both manage to get the couple to stay together. They organize a small dinner for the couple and Hao Chang proposes again. Out of excitement, Lele and Xiaomi hug, but immediately step away from each other when they realize how close they are. That night, the duo takes drinks to commemorate their victory. Lele then ties a long rope to his hands and offers the other end to Xiaomi. If she starts sleepwalking, he will be able to keep her out of trouble. Xiaomi and Lele spend the rest of the night painting and getting the hall ready for the wedding coming up the next day. On the wedding day, the witness is running late, so Lele, who is happy to save cost, has to act as the witness. After the ceremony, he rushes to the kitchen to prepare the meals for the guest. Unknown to him, Xiaomi is watching. After the wedding banquet, Hao Chang goes upstage to sing a song for Sophia. Xiaomi suddenly starts acting strange and rushes out of the place. Lele, who is worried, immediately follows her. He asks if she's okay. She replies that she left because the song was too sad. Lele then offers her a surprise, a layered dessert. Xiaomi is happy about the beautiful dessert and suggests they name it. She tells Lele it reminds her of the sea, so it should be called Heart of the Sea. Xiaomi also commends his culinary skills and asks why he isn't a chef instead of wasting his time fighting. Lele then explains to her that his grandfather's wish was for his sons to run an island resort for 6 months. In return, the person's resort with the best performance would take over the family hotel business. Lele also tells her that his brother likes cheating, so every punch he has ever thrown is to protect his dreams of giving his mother a better life. Later that night, Xiaomi finds it difficult to fall asleep. She can't help but think about what Lele had said. The following day, she calls Gao to confirm if JK and Lele are siblings, but Gao tells her to focus on the task she was given. 2 male customers who have been calling out to Xiaomi decide to bully her for wasting their time. Lele sees them and quickly rushes to Xiaomi's rescue. As a result, he gets hurt. While Xiaomi is tending to his wounds, she notices a tattoo named Catherine on Lele's arms. She asks if it's an ex-girlfriend, but Lele tells her it's someone he loves the most. Lele asks her if she is jealous, but she claims she isn't and asks Lele not to get full of himself. Lele then grabs Xiaomi along, offering to take her for a magical soul ritual. She refuses at first, but Lele convinces her to come along. They arrive at the strange island, and Lele abandons Xiaomi with only a bag. That night, Xiaomi gets scared and lonely. She starts missing her parents. Memories of how she has been neglected and maltreated in the past rush in, and she cries. She cries her heart out throughout the night and wakes up the following day to see Lele. He tells her to take off her clothes, and she gets scared. Chicken buries a cross on the ground while Lele puts Xiaomi's jacket around it, including her scarf. He tells her it's her old self which she should leave behind. Lele explains to her that he comes here whenever he's having a hard time. After crying, he goes back the next day as a new person. Xiaomi realizes he was only trying to help her, so she leaves with him anyway. Halfway through the journey, Chicken informs Lele that they are almost out of oil. They have no choice but to stop at JK's resort to purchase the oil. While they're at the shop, JK walks up to them, surprised to see Xiaomi. JK then asks to see Xiaomi at his office, but has to attend to something before that, so he asks her to wait for him at his office. While she's waiting, she snoops around the office. A message regarding payment for a particular offer at JK Resort is also playing in the background. A while later, he joins Xiami in the office. He calls Lele a scoundrel, but Xiami stands up for him. Now fully aware that JK is the cheat, she tells him she doesn't want to work for him anymore. Later, at You Resort, Lele confronts Xiami about her relationship with his brother, but Xiami tells him she doesn't know they are brothers. Lele leaves a note at night and the other end of the rope for Xiami at her tent before running back to his. She wears the string on one wrist, happy that Lele is not upset with her. The following day, she wakes up by the water bank. She realizes that Lele is not on the other end of the rope, so she gets annoyed and storms off to her tent where she meets Lele. Lele is holding her passport, and it becomes obvious that Lele has found out about everything. He asks her for an explanation, but she chooses to leave instead of explaining herself. Later that day, Lele is busy talking with a client, while Chicken, left behind with Lele's laptop, copies some documents into a flash drive unseen. The day of results for the resort finally comes. Xiami is about to leave but decides to stay back to hear the results. After the results are called, You Lele emerges as the winner. However, JK, unhappy with the results, steps out with false accusations against Lele. He even shows a video of Xiami in his office snooping around and overhearing a business voicemail, which he claims she sabotaged. Mr. Chicken even takes JK's side by testifying against Lele. JK then makes an offensive statement about Lele's mother, which almost causes a fight. Lele gets disqualified and Xiami can't take it anymore, so she hands over proof of her medical condition, which states that she has a severe degree of deafness and could not have heard anything when she was in JK's office. JK, who doesn't believe, goes ahead to test her hearing. Thanks to Xiami, Lele is reinstated as the legal winner of the competition. Xiami, on the other hand, leaves. On her way, she remembers how she had to stop wearing hearing aids because everyone around her mocked her. Lele calls her back to apologize, but Xiami is angry that he never trusted her. She tells him how she had to study everyone's expressions and movements to hide the fact that she's deaf. Lele pleads with her to stop pretending. He assures her that he can protect her and always be by her side. He tells her to be brave just once, but she retorts saying if he were brave, he would be chasing his dreams to become a chef and not dragging some family business. On her way to board a boat, Mr. Chicken rushes up to her to hand over the flash drive. He tells her there's something she needs to see in Lele's journal, and that if, after reading it, she still wants to leave, then she can. Xiami takes the flash drive and leaves. At the station, she takes out her laptop to view the journal, inside which she finds out that Lele long confirmed she was deaf, but still chose to keep her by his side. She rushes back to You Resort to meet Lele's mother, who hands her a letter from Lele. In his letter, he left to chase his dreams and hoped that Xiami would also be brave to start wearing her hearing aids again. A year later, Xiami lives life and proudly wears her hearing aids everywhere. During the weekends, she runs into Sophia, who invites her for her first anniversary, but Xiami is reluctant to attend. One evening, her friend tells her about a Fisherman's Heart restaurant. The restaurant seemed to have a dessert called the Heart of the Ocean, which Xiami can only get by finishing the courses in the meal. Finally, she sees the dessert and remembers Lele. Xiami rushes to the kitchen in search of the chef in charge. She confirms his name is You Lele and that he had just left, so she goes after him. However, she fails to find him that day. On Saturday, Lele shows up at Sophia's anniversary. Xiami is a no-show, which disappoints Sophia. Lele tells him he'll be going to France to work. Sophia tells him only Xiami's presence can change his mind, but she has failed to convince Xiami to come. Meanwhile, Xiami is at the resort. On her way to Sophia's party, she gets bullied by some boy. Out of anger, she takes off her shoes to hit the boys, but instead it hits a stranger up ahead. Xiami quickly runs for it, but is quickly caught by the stranger, who tries to confront her. To her amazement, it is Lele. Lele is also surprised to see that they meet again in the same way they had met the first time. They walk to a bench side to talk. Lele leans his head on Jami's shoulders, saying he can now relax. The final scene shows that when Jami was drowning years ago, she was saved by little Lele before his dad showed up. And the little boy who handed the towel to the fisherman uncle was You Lele, who had long been in love with Jami. Subscribe to see more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel grow. Thank you for watching.